Welcome to Security Highlights. My name is Nathaniel Dick. I manage the information system in cybersecurity for DornerWorks. This episode, we're going to discuss some of the best practices we learned that help meet any compliance standard. At DornerWorks, we have had to comply with several compliance standards over the years. We've identified some best practices that have helped us comply to these standards. Step 1. Do your research. Make sure you read the information in the standard and understand how the compliance standard will impact your organization. A good way to do this is to listen to webinars and podcasts like this on how organizations comply with those standards to understand what others are doing to comply. Another good way is to follow internet forums that actively discuss these topics. As I work on CMMC compliance, I'm regularly checking internet forums on this topic to keep up to date on the latest information. Step 2. Create a data flow diagram. With most compliance standards, you should identify what resources will be impacted by the standard so you can scope what parts of the organization you will need to be applying these standards to. For example, if you have CUI information, you may have a separate enclave that contains the CUI information. One of the easiest ways to do this is to create a data flow diagram. The data flow diagram should identify where data comes into the company, what it touches in the company, and where it comes out in product development, emails, or other means of information delivery. Identifying these main thoroughfares can also help with identifying stakeholders. These stakeholders will be impacted with areas along the data thoroughfares. It will be key to involving these stakeholders in the next steps. Step 3. Perform an internal gap analysis. All right, so you have done your research and understand how the data flows. Now you need to perform a gap analysis and come up with a plan to address the gaps in your organization. For example, if one of the gaps is visitor access, your plan of action might be, first, I will meet with stakeholders that will be impacted, such as the receptionists, the IT, and business development. Second, I will draft a policy in the organization to address this gap and outline the responsibility of the organization. And finally, I will publish and inform the organization of how this policy will affect them. Make sure you add due dates and follow-ups to all these steps. Step 4. Execute your plan. Just do it. Eventually, the meetings, paperwork, and theoretical implementation is not enough. It takes hard work to execute on the plan of action you've outlined. What you may also find is that starting the implementation process may help you identify efficiencies in this process, and you should find the execution of writing policies and implementing tools get easier as you continue to act on your plan. Step 5. Continuous feedback and evaluation. After you've executed your plan, I suggest you keep doing the 4 steps iteratively to make sure you keep up to date with the latest guidance and research on this compliance standard. Schedule an annual gap analysis to identify gaps that come up with onboarding of new tools and changes in the system. It is important to choose a partner that understands how to protect your data. That is why every day our DornerWorks team is employing rigorous tools, techniques, and processes to protect your data from cyber threats. The next security highlight, we will discuss how we build cybersecurity and compliance into our medical device development. For now, stay cyber safe.